afternoon, everybody. So glad you can join us. We've got an amazing team of panel guests at the moment. They are our FET phase tutors, grade 10 to 12. And one of the most amazing tutors, because they are the tutors that give our students the guidance that they need when going into a senior phase, not senior phase, university. Sorry, my apologies. You see, I also get confused sometimes, guys. So you see, you make mistakes, you just go with it. So they're all a bit nervous today, unfortunately, but we are allowed to be nervous. I just want to give you 2 seconds, just say who you are. So introduce yourself, please. We'll start with Tamira. And then we move along. I'm not going to go with names unless it comes to that point in time. Just a short introduction, your name, what grade, and what subject, please. Tamira?
Okay, hello everyone. As Melissa said, my name is Miss Tamira Parsad, and I am the Deputy Director for both the Senior Phase and FET. So those of you who tuned in yesterday have already had a little glimpse of me. uh, yeah, I'm basically responsible for having a support system for my staff as well as addressing parent and student concerns and making sure that our processes run efficiently and effectively. Yana, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yana Gutsch. I am also part of the FET phase. I'm currently teaching life orientation. My assessor is unfortunately not able to join us today, but Ntabi Singh and I are very happy to represent life orientation for SEET Academy.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chanel Sampson, and I am the religious studies tutor for the FET phase.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ashton, and I am the English Assessment Facilitator and Developer for English FET phase. I am also, as of currently, the FET phase head, and I design all of the assessments and do the pre-recorded videos for English. I now have 2 more assessors that have joined the team, so I'm very excited that we can now give more one-on-one attention to students.
Awesome stuff.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kira Marion, and I am one of the grade 10 students. And I started homeschooling last year in the 3rd term, and it was very hard to get through. But the teachers and the Google Classroom system was so helpful that I managed to pass.
Good day, I am Charlene Hima. I'm the tutor for grade 10, 11 and 12 and I teach Afrikaans first additional language.
Good day, my name is Desiree Skrikker. I am the maths literacy tutor for grade 10, 11 and 12 and I absolutely love my job.
I'm not sure if you can hear me because it shows on my screen that I am live, but anyway, my name is Victor Pfeiffer. I am the maths tutor, and yeah, I'm pretty new at SEET Academy, but I found the family to be absolutely very supportive to both student and to teachers. So that's really, really awesome people. They're really, really magic. It's really a great team to work with. I don't know anybody really on the screen, but I'm sure as time goes on, we all get to know each other and we're able to work with each other. Yeah, so I'm in charge of probably one of the slightly more stressful jobs as the pure maths teacher. Yeah, that is quite a challenge, but hey, we got to get through it and we got to win. And I know that all your students, all the new students are going to benefit from SEET Academy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate that, the short introduction. As I said, today is about getting to know the person behind the camera, getting to know who you are, what you do in your classes, how do you keep your kids entertained, what do you do that is different from mainstream. I mean, I'm not too sure. I don't know your background, so I would love to hear, if you've done mainstream schooling, what did you do? And how did you find the change? How did you adapt to online schooling? I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So if you want to answer, just put up your hand. Victor, I can't see you. I know you've got a bit of a problem with your camera. So the minute you unmute, I will be able to see that you want to say something. So anybody, put up your hand if you want to just go ahead. That will be appreciated. There we go. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, Ashton.
Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I did my postgraduate degree in education last year, where I also taught at a mainstream school. And I'd like to say that with SEET Academy in PGCE, we learn that the students and the teacher are one. So the teacher facilitates lessons rather than stand in the authoritarian role of teaching, where they just regurgitate content and the students listen. And what I like about SEET Academy is they take all of that heavy content and put it into pre-recorded videos, and then they have live sessions where there's a lot of interaction and Q&As. So they've kind of divided that, where we can get the content in the pre-recorded videos and then have a lot of interaction in the live lessons. Whereas with mainstream schooling, it was, trying to fit all of that into one lesson, where you given the content and also allowing time for questions and for students to engage and to think critically. So that's what I really love about SEET Academy, is they've split it up very nicely so that kids have the opportunity to ask questions, to engage in the content, to think critically, to analyze. And I think it's a very smart way of going about fitting in the CAPS curriculum, which is quite content heavy, and allowing kids to really, like I said, engage with the work enthusiastically in the live lessons. So that's something I really, really like about SEET Academy.
Thank you so much for that. Jan, anybody else? Jana.
Hi, okay. I'd actually like to add on to what Ashton said, because I recently finished my PGCE as well. And what they taught us is that you should not see your students as empty vessels that should just sponge up all the information that you have to give them. But I feel like in mainstream schooling, sometimes that does happen. But what they do at SEET Academy, which is amazing, like Ashton said, the pre-recorded videos. So the students have time to work on their videos when they have time, when they're at their best, the most focused and things like that. But then when we see them during live sessions, when the tutors see them, we get to actually engage with them and to talk to them not only about the content, but also, like in life orientation, for example, also about the problems that they face personally in life, and to help them through that, which I really, really enjoy. And also the one-on-one that we get to have with the students, and the WhatsApp groups, and the communication is just absolutely amazing. So that's what I agree with Ashton. That's what I love about SEET Academy.
Thank you so much for that, Jana. Anybody else want to say something before, we just open it up for everybody else?
Yeah, I don't mind saying, what I find exciting about the pre-recorded videos, so if your student doesn't remember something that happened in class on a particular day, when they are studying, they have the teacher's teaching to go back to through a live video or through a pre-recorded video. So in mainstream school, often students, they forgot what their teacher said, because it's about friends and about not really paying attention. It's about making jokes and that with their friends. Whereas for me, in this particular situation, they can now, if they are studying for the June exam, for instance, they've got months of videos to navigate through that will remind them of what was taught. Not only do we do the teaching through the pre-recorded lessons, we also do live. So the time that they come into class with us for that half an hour, we record those sessions as well. And therefore, they are able to go back and go back and go back. So there's a lot of repetition and a way of them to really understand their work and not lose out on anything, especially in recap on the exams.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I just want to give Kira some time just to express her journey with SEET Academy. Kira, if you want to unmute yourself quickly.
Okay, so when I started, as I said, it was very difficult for me. But then, as Miss Skrika said, there's all the pre-recorded videos, so I could go back and watch all those videos, and I managed to catch up on all the work. And yeah, that's how it was for me. And I find it very nice that we get half an hour breaks between all the lessons, so it's not like all very overwhelming. And also another nice thing is that we can wake up late because school only starts at 9. And yes, the teachers are very helpful, and the live lessons are very good because we get to ask the teachers questions, whereas in like normal mainstream school, they would just teach us and we would be like shy to ask questions. But these classes are meant for asking questions. So yeah, that's how my experience has been with SEET Academy.
Thank you so much for that. I know that you said that you needed to leave. So if you need to leave, thank you so much for allowing us some of your time this afternoon. I really appreciate that. And I hope to see you again soon on one of our webinars. Thanks, Kira. I see you,
no
Mr.
problem.
Thank you. I see Victor. I see your face now. I can put a face to the name. Victor, if you can unmute yourself. Just unmute yourself, Victor.
Sorry, I just quickly changed computers because I don't know what happened to the other one. I didn't want to show my face. Maybe it thought it would break the camera or something. But anyway, yeah, it's awesome to be amongst these, be the thorn amongst all the roses here this afternoon. Feel quite lost, but I'm enjoying. There's new challenges. I have to admit, there are a lot of new challenges here on SEET Academy. There were times that I think the students were getting really stressed. But yeah, it's a challenge, and if we can make a difference in the child's life, that for me is the most important thing. Is to, as maths is probably one of the more important subject, I would say, for especially for guys, if they want to get anywhere in life, into varsity or anywhere. I think, yeah, it is. Maths is probably one of the most important subjects, and I would like to know that I can make a difference. My strategy is a little different to probably traditional teachers in that I like to sort of, won't say befriend students, but I like to communicate with students on their level and try and understand them and get to know their hobbies and their way they think. And I think if you win students over with getting to know them and taking interest in their lives, you can make a difference in their lives. And as soon as they trust you, and as soon as they can communicate with you and you allow communication, yes, sometimes it's a very lot of communications to get with every student, but it has its challenges. And yeah, I think it's very positive. And I think the background of SEET Academy trying to make affordable education for everybody and touch everybody's lives as far as possible around the world, I think is great thing for everybody.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
that. And
maths is really awesome.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. The importance of maths. If you think about where we're heading in life, the technology side of where our students are heading, because everything is online. I mean, the digital world has become so huge. Graphic designing, I mean, coding, web designing, all those type of things that for me wasn't really a career choice when I was in school, but now it's like what you're going to become. No, I'm going to become an IT person or whatever the case might be, and everything is involved revolves around maths, the importance of maths. um, but let's hear about Charlene. I'd like to hear Afrikaans. I find that a lot of the kiddies, with Afrikaans, they struggle with Afrikaans. Some of them has never actually done the language, and as we know, CAPS curriculum is a compulsory two-language curriculum. And when you come into the FET phase, how do you handle with those kind of situations? Or do you find it, or do you have any of those type of students at the moment? Okay, unmute yourself, Charlene.
Sorry about that. All right. Yes, yes, I would say yes. And for me, it's important to remember that each learner is an individual with individual needs. So, although we are busy teaching a collective subject, though, I also try to integrate aspects into the lessons that would captivate students and ensure that they receive optimal information from each lesson to maximize the information they retain by keep it interesting. I love teaching Afrikaans first additional language. It's a very unique language and it brings me a lot of joy to teach it to English home language learners. The online teaching program at Seed Academy is also very intriguing. I know that we are moving into a technological world more and more each day, and being part of this transition is and a vital role player is an absolute joy and honor for me.
Awesome.
So I
Thank you
hope
so
that
much.
answers your question.
Yes, no, it definitely does. But more so, I hope it answered our viewers' questions. But Chanel, you're very quiet there. Come on, unmute yourself and say something.
Let me unmute
Anything.
myself. Yeah, so I agree with Charlene with seeds and the online community. I think we should take note of the students, especially the newer students as well. I mean, can be difficult to join something new, and so it's ongoing, it's evolving, and with seeds is a support system that I think reassures a lot of parents, a lot of the tutors as well, and the students. And so it helps, I would say, it helps them feel supported in any way. There are tutors that will help out. In my classes, especially, there are other students, fellow students helping them out. So if newer students don't know or confused by certain things, there are other students that help them out within the groups. So I think the support system is essential when you're trying online schooling, and essentially something new.
Awesome. And then just on a norm, because a lot of you always hear that when kids are homeschooled, that they don't learn how to socialize. I mean, for me, I know that that's not true. But from your point of view, as a classroom experience, when you join the class, is there any involvement? I know you mentioned now the groups, but I mean, is there anybody now and when they join the live classes, do they interact with each other? Are they given that little? I know they got little chat box, but what happens in a live class? Anybody? You don't have to.
No, it's completely fine. So it really depends. Some students really prefer or are comfortable with utilizing the chat boxes, which in my case, I don't really mind. And then you get others would utilize the mic. So I don't necessarily tell them they can't, they can't, they have to use the mics. But I think the engagement is essential, and that is what the live sessions, especially with religious studies, that is why it's so important, because you can get the tips of what the students essentially need to want to say, want to express themselves with, especially with the pre-recorded lessons. And so, yes, the
Yeah.
engagement there is really in my case important. But with regards to whether they utilize the chat box, whether they utilize the microphones, it's completely up to each student, because they are individuals and they have their own comfortabilities within what they, or their preferences, their own preferences at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I've heard a lot of things about support structure, about feeling like a family, and what comes to mind is the fact that community. So it's almost like Seat Academy's got their own little community, their own online community, and obviously support comes from the top and builds down. So obviously, if we don't have a good foundation, then obviously nothing can be built on top of that foundation. So Tamira, you fall in one of those foundation phases, where you build up supporting the tutors and stuff. Give us a little bit of, just chat to us in general with regards to, it's end of term, exams is done. It's like, phew, we finally made it through the first term. Yay! I know everybody's feeling like that. Tamira, unmute yourself first.
Sorry, at the top it just says mic is muted. Yeah, I was just saying I think you made a mistake by pointing me out, because you pointed out someone who talks a lot. So let me just to say that first of all. But when I started at Seat Academy, I started from the bottom. So I started from a tutor, and then I worked my way up to phase head until I came to the point where I am now as a deputy director. And in any company, you face challenges, especially in the education industry, because there's always one deadline after another deadline after another deadline. You have assessments, you have parents, you have students. But the thing that I have noticed is that people are given a voice, whereas in other institutions it's just kind of like the principal said this, so this is what you need to do. Whereas over here it's like we listen to all stakeholders. We're not just like, because the tutor said this is the way it needs to go. We give our parents a voice, we give our tutors a voice, we give our students a voice, and help is provided when needs be if someone speaks up. And like Chanel was saying, she has the kids who has the choice to utilize the microphones and the chat. And I think that's one of the key words there. It's that they have the choice. They are not picked on like in traditional schools where it's like, oh, you were sleeping in my class, you answer this question. So children have the freedom to have their own identity and be who they want to be. And if they don't feel comfortable in a live class environment, they have the tutors' emails as well as their WhatsApps. They can pop them a private message to say, ma'am or sir, I'm sorry I didn't ask this question in class, but can you please help me here? And, there are cases where some things are not subject related, but might be related to something else. Maybe it be academics, maybe it might be something that they are dealing with personally. Then they can go to their phase head, or if it's something that needs drastic immediate attention, then we also have our counselor on board where she can arrange private meetings and have things remain anonymous so that they can actually get professional help that they need. And this classifies for both students and for tutors, where support isn't just one pillar. It's like wherever you go, someone is there to support you as long as you speak up. So I think that's my
No,
take on
that's
it.
true. No, that's true. So, Yana, you're very quiet in the corner there. Yana, unmute yourself. The last time I chatted to Yana, she just joined Seat Academy. She was very excited about starting her online journey with us. So it's your first assessment is done. Tell us about your journey.
Well, let's talk about assessments first. Okay, so Tamira mentioned that we have a wonderful counselor. I've been in contact with her recently, and her name is Deborah. And because I'm the life orientation tutor, I assume that's why students kind of come to me with some personal problems, some stress, some stressing about time management, things like that. And it's been wonderful to be in a position that I can help them. And the students that need professional help, Miss Deborah is so helpful, and I'm really grateful for her for helping our students through this test period. For some students, it is their first test period with Seeds Academy. They're still getting used to Google Classroom. With load shedding going on now, some students feel like they're missing out on work. But that's again where the pre-recorded videos come in. And yeah, I think it's amazing that I can, or tutors in general can go back and say, go check out this pre-recorded video or this live session that was recorded, see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, do you have time for a Google Meet? And just to give them individual attention. And like Chanel said earlier, we don't put students on the spot at Seed Academy. If they want to use the chat box, they use the chat box. If they want to arrange a Google Meet, they can do so. But their individuality is genuinely supported and understood. And then something that I've actually started doing recently when I start my live classes, as I introduce or I greet the students as good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and those who do not confine to either. Because I've noticed that there are a lot of students who identify as non-binary or as they, them, and the inclusion of that it made an enormous difference in how comfortable they are in a class.
Awesome stuff. And I like the fact that, with the academy, that we don't discriminate, and that we find that our students are comfortable and they're open to share that with us, when you go to mainstream school, they've got to hide who they are, they've got to kind of like, I've got to put on a costume and then go out to school and then come back. I must take that costume out and now I can be who I am. But when they're online with us, it's like they are who they are, they come as they are, and we accept them no matter what. So I love that about the school. So is there anybody else? Desiree, I see that you want to unmute yourself there. What would you like to add?
No, I think I just pressed something wrong. But I do agree with what Jana said, with the privacy kind of issues with the students. This morning I had an example where I asked, because there was only 4 learners in class. It was a new class that started recently. And I singled some people out because it was so few learners. I said, talk to me, switch on your mic. And then the learner typed in the chat, ma'am, I'm very shy. And then I said, no problem whatsoever. And that wasn't an issue. So we definitely give the students that kind of freedom. And I love that about them. Earlier, you spoke about what is our type of teaching methods, or how does the student, not teaching methods, how do the students interact? I think it varies from class to class. Some classes you have to ask, guys, are there really no questions? And you have to, the chat box is empty. But some classes, I have to say, enough now. So while I'm teaching, because I'm presenting, then I've got to watch my chat box. So sometimes I can't see, and then I have to say, now you've got to stop, because you are not concentrating on Maths Lit. You are concentrating more on your parties or on your food. So I find that with the students at times, but there is definitely that freedom to just interact, and you hear them chatting a lot. So yeah, it depends on the type of people that's in a specific class.
Thank you for that. Victor, do you have anything to add with that? I mean, I look at a maths tutor, and I'm seeing you now, and I'm like, I would actually start biting my nails if I walk into your class. I'll make sure I'm dressed to the T. My tie is straight, and my microphone and everything. I mean, that's how I would feel if I walk into your class. But how do you keep your students engaged?
I'm totally different. Yeah, I'm probably not that way, totally inclined. But yeah, I've got a few jingles that I start my classes with, and I like say, hey, welcome to my airways this morning. How are you guys looking? You're looking all awesome and really amazing. Your icons are looking great. I really enjoyed being here with you this morning. What's happening on your world is my sort of introduction, and I will obviously get everybody. Good morning, sir. We will. How are you doing? And that is what I enjoy is when they send the messages and say, "Go, sir, we are doing great, and how are you doing?" And that just them asking how are you doing is feels makes you feel that they are actually interacting, and a couple will before you've actually as the lesson started, before you've actually switched your own mic on, they were already typing on a message, "Good morning, everybody." And that is nice to see. And of course, I have a goodbye jingle that I say, "Keep it real and keep your feet on the ground and reach for your stars." And for me, keeping it real is keeping your feet on the ground. Reaching your stars is reaching your dreams, going for your dreams, and don't give up on it. And that is my sort of introduction jingle to the lesson and my goodbye jingle. And
Awesome stuff. And I'm sure that even though, I mean, you do it as a, you know, your jingle to get them interactive and making sure that they, it somehow hits home to some of them. I mean, years from now they will remember that and they will say, you know what, I went online schooling and I had a maths tutor, this is what he did every day on his when we started a class. So what you do, your personality that you add into your classes or into your the way you are teaching makes a difference. And you can hear this from students. You know, I've got parents and students that's always commenting, always sending me messages about how they enjoy the classes. It's the best choice that they've made, the support they're getting from you guys. So really, even though you might not see it every day and even though you don't hear it every single day, you guys are really doing a fantastic job. We appreciate everything that you're doing for our kids. And one of the things that we are aiming for is that obviously we are providing a service, yes, but it's a case of providing a quality service. So it's not just about having fun, it's about putting it out there, covering it, the academics, and getting everything sorted. I see that here is a comment. My son Koliso is very excited with Seat Academy. I've never seen him this happy. So meaning at Seat Academy is doing an awesome job. Fantastic. Once again, one of our parents that is very happy with the services that you guys are giving the kids. Now, when it comes to the, if I'm not just sure if you guys are only, you do the FET grade 10, 11, and 12 all the way. Am I correct? Yes? Okay. So when it comes to grade 10, I know when grade 10 is subject choices, everything is fresh, everything is new. Kids are excited because it's like, you know, it's the start of my journey. When it comes to matric, I know that we've got, what I think about 160 odd matriculants this year. I'm not too sure, but we've got quite a huge amount of matriculants. What is the support structure for them? How do we get all this work ramped in such a short period of time? How do we get everything across? Anybody want to talk about that?
Okay, so I'll go. I know Yana wanted to say something previously, and then you just kept on rattling on. So I think Yana can actually go after me, just to give her that opportunity to say what she wanted to say. But the thing that we try to do is we try to have consistency throughout our phases and throughout our grades, because what we've seen also in traditional schools is that after a kid finishes grade 9, then they come to grade 10 and they have no idea how to cope with the workload. They don't understand the foundational work that's required in that subject, which was supposed to be covered in senior phase. But because they haven't had that experience, or rather they weren't actually supported, they were just a number in the system or just a child in the class, they weren't looked at as an individual, they tend to struggle in the other phases. So the way our grade 10 is structured is the same way our grade 11 is structured, which is the exact same way our grade 12 students are are structured. We don't just say, okay, hi guys, you in matric, the system's changed, crunch time, time management, good luck for your exams. We try to we try to build that foundation from the time they start with us. Some of them are brand new in grade 10. Others have been with us since the very start of Seat Academy and are going to continue their way with us. But that's one of the nice things, is that we try and prepare students from their very start, so that when they actually do get to their matric, it's not like, I only have 3 terms, I only have this, I only have that. We even, in our study methods, we tell them, okay, guys, you're writing NSC. This is what you need to focus on. This is your best bet at studying. You can make your notes, but you can also go through past papers. You can do this, you can do that. And like Joanna was saying earlier, when students speak up, if it's something that we can't help them with, because we do have students who have issues like anxiety, or who face panic attacks from stress and stuff like that. We do also try and help those students, where if it's something extreme, they can go to Deborah, and Deborah can help them. And it's not only just, okay, I'm a counselor, speak to me and let's see where it goes from here. It's, okay, speak to me, let's find a solution. Let me give you techniques on how to better your time management. Let me help anchor you when you are feeling like an anxiety attack is coming on. Here's the most simple thing that you can do, which is just take 3 deep breaths and anchor yourself. And sometimes something as small as that can make the biggest difference to someone who feels like they're extremely overwhelmed, which a lot of our matriculants do feel. But because we have that support system, and because we try and instill this from the very start, it gets a lot easier for like our students who's been here from grade 10. They literally, sometimes in the live classes, they just like, when the other new matriculants start, they're like, oh no, ma'am explained this last year already, this is what you guys need to do. So that's kind of my take on the way we handle matrics. We start from a foundation and build them up, so by the time they get there, they're not stressed.
Thank you so much for that. Tamira, do you mind answering this question? Are you able to change subjects in term 2 if you see that you don't perform well?
So unfortunately not. I know that we do have subject change available until the 21st of March. And the only reason why we can't change in term 2 is because registrations from Sakai are finalized on the 31st of March. So once the 31st of March is over, we can't go and change subjects.
If I might just add to that, it is also a case of why do you want to, it's the beginning of a term, you've only covered the first term. At least give yourself that chance to see what happens throughout the year. Get the support that you need throughout the year. Don't just start something within the first term and now I'm not doing well, so now I want to change it. I believe that, give yourself a fair chance. And I believe that with the proper support system from the tutors, with study methods, techniques, those type of things, all of those things will help you actually improve. Yes, Tamira, go ahead. But wait, hold on. Tamira, Yana needs to go, Tamira. Yana needs to go.
Okay.
I feel like this is so far off topic now, which is wonderful because we're going with the flow. But I caught onto a train of thought that I actually want to share with everyone, our viewers that are listening and watching. Everybody mentioned inclusivity at Seat Academy, and inclusivity with regards to gender identity or mental health. But something that I've also found in Seat Academy is inclusivity with regards to religious views. So when a child is asked to do a PET, for example, a practical assignment for life orientation, and that practical assignment is dancing, and dancing is not within their religious views, Seat Academy does not force them to do so. We come together as face head and tutors and assessors, and we work out something that the student is comfortable with. So none of our students are ever placed in a position where any of their religious beliefs are compromised or where they have to do something that they're not comfortable with. And I've noticed that really, really encourages students to speak up, and it really opens them up and makes them feel like they can trust us as tutors, which is a wonderful feeling, honestly.
That is amazing. And I like that about the fact that we, and once again, it goes to going over and beyond what is expected. within our subjects that we are teaching. It also gives kids, like you said, the confidence just to say, ma'am, this is why I can't do this. And we say, not a problem. Let's find a solution, instead of, okay, well, if you're not going to do it, you're just going to get zero. We find solutions, we come up with ideas, and we make it work. Tamira, sorry about that. Go ahead.
I was just wanted to add on how you were saying, a term one is just a foundation. Now, that's also something that we've seen, especially from kids who came from grade 9 and now starting grade 10, because grade 10 maths and grade 10 physical science is not NST. It's not the maths that they learned in grade 9. Yes, some of the foundations are there, but you don't learn the vast majority of things that were required in grade 9. So when kids come to grade 10 and it seems like just this cloud blow ups in their face and they have no idea what's going on, so it kind of gets overwhelming, and we do realize that. So another thing that SEET also has is for students who performed poorly in term 1, we try and get them help at the start of term 2. So with maths, for example, we are getting an interventionist in place that will classify for both math and math lit students. That's also another thing, is most other schools, they only focus on math marks and physics marks and biology marks. The rest of the subjects are just there, and tourism and religion studies and all of that just gets kind of put on the chopping block, where it's like, no, these subjects are nothing. But
Yeah.
here at SEET Academy, it's kind of like every single subject is valued. Every single subject has a support system. So one thing that we have is an after school calendar where tutors can actually go, if they see that their kids are struggling with a certain topic, they can actually book lessons out of class time and let their kids know. We have an hour every Fridays, for example. You guys are welcome to join. We can redo these topics. Or if students can't join, then they've got the privilege of doing it in a pre-recorded video or making slideshows or notes that can go into Google Classroom to help the students. And like I was saying, with the math interventionists, this is probably going to start in term 2, where we'd give students math classes every single week, specifically focused on the problem areas. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
When you're talking about that, and I know that unfortunately I'm now just a little bit off center, but we've also got, I'm sure you guys have heard that we've got the SEET Academy, the Academic Excellence Program that is starting off in term 2 as well, which is focused on subject tutoring. So the main focus obviously being the physics, the maths, and the accounting, because we find as much as we like to encourage our students to actually do those kind of subjects, unfortunately, when they come from mainstream school, the basics of those particular subjects has not been covered. So we also find that a lot of our kids has to learn how to learn. They've got to actually, they don't know how to study, they don't know how to learn, and the Academic Excellence Program is there to assist the kids. So we're super excited as SEET Academy for this new particular program, and I know for a fact that it will benefit all our FET phase kiddies, and I wish that we can take all of them and just put them on this program and just get them, and not just them, but also get you guys the support that you would need in order for that extra assistance with the maths and things like that. But I think what I'd like to do is everybody, I think we'll start with Victor and go to Ashton, Chanel, Desiree, back to me. Just last words of wisdom, anything that you guys would like to share. This is now for our future SEET Academy students that is looking for an online school for next year, 2023, because unfortunately we have met our quota for students this year for the FET phase. So give a message out there to our future students who would want to join, and why should they join SEET Academy for 2023. Victor, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Or why wouldn't you want to join SEET Academy with all these beautiful people in the background and supporting you and wanting you to be there, and really exciting to Yeah, the new challenges that they're wanting to introduce, and from next term and next year, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. You can sit at home, you can sit in your pajamas and have your lessons and sip your cup of coffee and not be in the classroom and be a just a number. You are now your individual self, and you up to yourself to um, better yourself, to uh, get it done. And without a matric certificate, you're not going to get a job, even if you got a varsity degree. And a lot of people don't understand that, don't realize that. You might have a varsity degree, but if you don't have your matric certificate, you actually have to have that physical certificate. So please, guys, get that, uh, get it done, get it, and you can do it in the comfort of your home. Seat Academy is the answer.
Thank you for that, Victor. Ashton?
Okay, so just to add on to what Victor was saying, I like that you can be yourself. You are not limited. Seat Academy does not exclude anybody. So issues with bullying or feeling like you don't fit in, social anxiety, Seat Academy really accommodates for that. And that's why I think it's really special. And also the support system. So we always on WhatsApp, all of the tutors and the assessors, phase heads, academic directors, we're all here for you whenever you need. We'll always message you back. Like you said, there's intervention classes if you need extra lessons. We really cater for critical thinking and analytical skills, which is very important in today's age, because they have access to information at their fingertips continuously, and they need to learn how to really analyze information and be able to differentiate between credible information and fake news, because there's a lot of fake news that they're subject to. So if they're able to analyze that and be able to back up their analyze the information and then also synthesize their own conclusions with credible information, that's really important nowadays, especially because they have information everywhere. And to know what's false and what's true is very important. And Seeds Academy really caters to that critical thinking, because we take the content heavy stuff in the pre-recorded videos. And then, like I said, we have the Q&As where we encourage you to think critically. So we ask you questions too. You know, what do you think about this? What can you tell me about that? And it gets them to start thinking. And once they start thinking, that's when the magic happens. So that's why I encourage you to join Seeds Academy. It's a very special school, a nice support system, and yeah, it's just a great company to work with and a great company to join as a student as well.
Thank you so much for that. Chanel?
Adding on to Ashlyn, I just wanted to say that the support, like Victor as well said, the support is there, and the team as in Seeds is really, really supportive. But I do want to mention that even though the idea of online schooling is kind of daunting, that it is something new, and that students get the opportunity to go out of the comfort zones per se, and that they are essentially supported by everyone in seats, and they essentially don't have to fear, I would say, or anything like that when it comes to the learning. I think when we think about online teaching, especially, it can be, like I said, daunting, but it is really important to note that everybody supports them. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Desiree?
I think Desiree got stuck.
Yeah, I think so too.
No,
I think,
no,
okay.
I'm sorry. Someone from Seed Academy tried to access the drive and it just cut me out. Anyway, I've got two things that I'd just like to say to all the students wanting to join. You know, when you are in a public school or mainstream school, sometimes your notes gets lost. Sometimes you lose your books. Sometimes you lose things because maybe you're not an organized person or things like that. Whereas we use a classroom system where all your notes are stored for you. Your only responsibility is to look for or to take care of your work that you did. But even that, if you submit an assignment or a task, it is there always for you to be able to find it throughout the year. And the other reason that you would want to join Seat Academy, who doesn't want access to their teacher from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night on WhatsApp anytime during those hours and some even afterwards? And we are told not to answer students after 5. But imagine having access to your teacher between 8 and 5 for so many hours and having all of your stuff organized for you in a classroom on your laptop. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that is so true. I spoke about it, I think, yesterday, and I mentioned, we've spoiled our kids to a point where some of them, and it's, well, okay, let me rephrase. It's not that we spoil them, but we are available to our students to a point that on weekends, you know that somebody's going to message you, but you shouldn't be looking at your phone over a weekend, but you still take your phone out and you're like, okay, let me just see quickly and just answer this one quickly. And I mean, honestly, some of you must be doing that on weekends as well. I see Victor shaking his head there. But Jana, last words from you.
Wow, I feel like everyone has said it. How easy Seat Academy made online learning, and the support is amazing. Having access to all your content. One thing that I think is important to mention, just as my closing statement. Sometimes when parents look at online teaching or students look at online teaching, they think to themselves that they won't be able to socialize as much as they would in a mainstream school. Now, I stand witness to students in my classes doing their assignments, their PET assignments, their practical assignments as a group assignment, which they were obviously allowed to do. And they make friends. Your students, your children, parents, your kids, when they join Seat Academy, it's not only a community for the tutors, it's a community for the students as well. They ask each other what books they read, or how's your cat, or how's your brother doing. It's a very personal interaction that they have with each other as well. And yeah, it's just an amazing community to be part of as a tutor and as a student.
Thank you so much for that, Jana. And yes, totally agree. I mean, if I can relate to our staff group, our WhatsApp staff group, I mean, there's at times when like, oh, just stop posting food. I'm getting hungry because I haven't had lunch or I haven't had supper, but everybody's sharing, this is what I'm having. This is what I'm having. So I can just imagine what's happening in the classes. So thank you for that. Tamira.
I think that the staff on board here has covered everything wonderfully. I don't even know what more to add, but just my little 2 cents would be that we're moving in a technical direction. And with that said, traditional schooling focuses on creating factory workers. That's not something that we focus on here at Seat Academy. We want to create entrepreneurs and, like Ashton said, critical thinkers, someone who's going to take the jobs of the future. I think online we like to say that the next Elon Musk is going to come from Seat Academy. So that's something that's very realistic looking at where we're going, because the nice thing about online also is that we're not set in stone. If something isn't working, we can change it. That's the beauty of it. And like our tutor said, our students are allowed their individuality, and socialization is also something that's very important over here. We have our student groups, we have our Google Classroom, and sometimes I've seen it myself where tutors pop into a class and kids get excited because ma'am also lives in the same area as me, and then another child pops up and they're like, wait, you live in the next street, let's be friends, something like that. So I do think that there is a stigma around online learning where people just assume it's just a child living in front of their desktop and that's it for the day. But even in our previous webinar, one of the tutors said that that communication, even though it might be something that's just virtual, might also be the only communication that that student has for the day, because we are a nationwide company. So we don't only have students that are in suburban areas, we have students in our company who are also from very rural areas, who live in secluded areas, and that's the only time they get to interact with their friends and with their teacher online. And we can make that difference where a child doesn't have to walk 5 kilometers just to get to school. They can just sit on their desk, go online, and have that exact same experience. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Tamira. And then I'd just like to thank each and every one of you for giving up your time. Please send my regards to your families at home and say, I apologize for delaying supper. If you still need to go make supper, so tell them I do apologize for the delay in the supper. But thank you for your time. Thank you for offering up your expertise and just giving a voice to your subjects and showing a face to your subject and getting the message out there to our future students. Something we aim at or looking at for term 2 is obviously with growth becomes improvement. So we're looking at a new learner management system that we are implementing in term 2. So I'm totally excited about that. Guys, blessings to you all. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. Have a good afternoon. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.